Welcome to episode 3 of Halloween Heads. I hope you all have been enjoying the goodies we have been offering you all so far. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to review a fan-made Halloween film.
Yeah, we're talking about Michael versus Jason, Evil Emerges from 2019, from directed by Luke Petter. So I don't know. I hope it's Petter. I don't know. I guarantee you that poor dude got called Luke Peter his entire freaking school career, every grade from like kindergarten till he was a whatever in graduating from college. Everybody was like, hey, what's up there, Peter?
Probably.
Or maybe that's how you pronounce it, and then we're just a couple of jerks right now. But wait, yeah, that's different than...
We have no idea. We just found this thing on YouTube, watched it, and boom, here we are.
Yeah.
But I know you have been kind of more into the fan-made films of like the horror franchises that we love. I know back when we did Horror Heads, you had picked a few of the Friday fan-made films. So this was yours.
Yeah. I love the fan films. I mean, especially, since we went into lockdown, with the pandemic and stuff, and when you were running out of stuff to watch, it's like, I know that horror fans all the time are like, oh, I watch Halloween like 8,000 times a year. But in reality, when you're locked up for, weeks on end, and you're like, man, how many times can I watch those Friday the 13th movies? Or, how many times can I watch Nightmare on Elm Street? Or how many times can I watch Halloween? When you're looking for something different to watch. And then you can just go on YouTube now. And, this is shit that me and you wanted to do when we were kids. I have artwork that I've shown you recently that I found in an old folder from, when we were kids, of, movies that we dreamt about making when we were like in 5th and 6th grade, old D&J Productions. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I don't. But
okay, I'll have to send you a picture of something else later.
Oh, yeah, please do.
But yeah, but I mean, you had that fucking video camera thing that we recorded on cassettes or whatever the hell it was, and now, I mean, how old were your kids when they got their phone? Your youngest, he was probably what, freaking kindergarten, 1st grade, and he had a phone. I mean, my kids were, I don't remember how old my youngest was, but it was 3rd or 4th grade and she had a phone. Could you imagine if we would have had like an iPhone in the late 80s, dude? The stuff we would have been filming.
I couldn't imagine.
Oh, but now now you can have that. You have these kids that are not even kids. I mean, 45-year-olds, 50-year-olds, with iPhones or GoPros or whatever, and an or a MacBook, and you're all set up, and you can, edit, film stuff with masks you buy from Trick or Treat Studios, and supplies you get from the local Halloween store, and you have special effects that look not the best, but decent for a little amount of money, and you can make a halfway decent Halloween fan movie and throw it up on YouTube and get 1 million views, and it's kind of cool. And then I don't know about this guy necessarily, him, but I know like some of the other films, like we were talking earlier, like the Friday the 13th ones, Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow. Those are some like really popular fan films, and there's some other really popular ones as well. But I mean, those guys that make those movies are not, I'm not going to even pretend that they're nearly as famous as, say, like Robert Englund or, Nick Castle or John Carpenter or something, but yet they sometimes still go to like some of the horror conventions and stuff, and people go specifically to see them. And that's freaking cool, you know, that you have fans that are fanboying over other fans who are fanboying enough that they're like, I'm gonna make a movie. And it's just it's so cool the time that we live in, you know.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, like you mentioned, I forgot about that. Um, yeah, I had this, I think it was sixth grade, I got for Christmas. My uncle got me a Fisher Price video camera, and it only recorded in black and white. And I don't know if even there was sound on it. I think maybe there was, but the microphone was terrible. And the lighting, unless you had really good lighting, the picture was terrible. And I remember taking, and yeah, it recorded on like cassette tapes. And I remember going outside and recording something, or and that was back when we were like, yeah, dude, we gotta make a movie. And we would be writing these scripts and coming up with these like Halloween. I think we wrote like Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 before they existed. And I mean,
Yep.
we had all these sequels ready to go. Yeah, that would have been, yeah, had we have had a cell phone back when we had, nothing but time, that would have been so much fun.
Yeah, could you have imagined? Yeah, we had this
Oh,
the stupid stuff we would have made.
we would have had a great time. Yeah, because we would talk about stuff like that all the time. Like, we'd come up with ideas and write stories and share that.
Yeah.
But just to actually go out, and back then, to get a Michael Myers mask, I remember, like, the first one they ever had was the one they called The Mask, and it was $40, which my mom there's no way she was going to spend $40 on a mask. And you could only get it at a certain Halloween shop or something. And nowadays everything's so accessible. You could do all this stuff. Like, you and I, if we wanted to, we could just take a weekend off and make a Halloween movie in one of our backyards.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And both of us could do it, because I mean, well, I see you have a Michael Myers mask right behind you. I have two Michael Myers masks right off to my left. There's one right behind this door here, you know.
That too.
Yeah, so I mean we could, and those are, I mean, well, I know yours are, a lot more higher quality than mine are, but I mean, for a fan movie, I mean, even just straight off of the shelf at Spirit Halloween
Oh,
is is good enough, really.
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, we could go have a blast doing that. And just like you said too, we were talking about the what was it, the horror conventions, and the what's it called, the independent filmmakers coming there, and the fan filmmakers. Remember last time, I think it was last time, the last convention we went to, or maybe it was one before, and the guy who was doing the My Bloody Valentine fan made sequel to the original, and I remember he gave me a little flyer or something with the website if I wanted to contribute some money to it. So yeah, you're right. These guys are, I think it's, that one was called Valentine Bluffs is what that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember. I don't remember if that, did we ever check that out? I don't think we ever did.
I never saw it. I never watched it. Yeah.
I'm gonna write it down right now.
I wonder if I don't even know if it was completed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't remember if it was or not.
But they got all the costuming was like straight up from the first movie. It was pretty cool. I remember seeing shots. I was like, wow, they really did a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing anymore what you could do. And that's the thing now is, like, I mean, you could make it like you said, like, and I mean, kind of sort of similar to, like, even what's the storyline in this movie is, like, you could realistically just go to like Spirit Halloween or even like Walmart in September of any year and just buy like some random costumes that are like either like just gnarly looking people, whether it's like homeless looking guys or something, or just like gnarly looking alien looking monsters or something, and just have a couple of them and have no story at all, and just have like an abandoned warehouse, or even like the setting like in this movie, just out in the woods somewhere, and just have 2, 3, 4 bad villain type guys just fighting for no reason, and you just film it and don't explain it at all and upload it to YouTube, and people are like, this is awesome. You know, you have, like, remember when we would have been what, in sixth grade, I guess, and we were like gonna do this Halloween thing, and we wanted to do like intestines and stuff, and so we were trying to figure out how to do it and stuff. I mean, now you can totally do it, you know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you could do like what we've always talked about too anymore. Like, I mean, when we were in sixth grade trying to figure out how to do it, we were like everybody else in the 80s trying to figure out special effects, because at the time we were no different than Tom Savini was when in the late 70s when he was working on that stuff, because
Oh,
he didn't know how the hell to do it. So he was like, I don't know. I guess I get some garden hose or something. I get some of this stuff and get some of that and some
trial and error.
glue
Yeah.
and some gelatin and stuff. And I don't know. And that's the same thing we were trying to do. We were like, maybe we get some garden hose and like some tomato sauce or something. And,
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We still, yeah, that was that haunted house that we did in sixth grade. That was a cool one. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, so this this film, it's about a 30-minute 30 minutes long fan film. Michael, what's it? Michael versus Jason.
Michael versus Jason. Evil emerges. I assume that's how you say it when you watch this movie, like during the previews and stuff. I would assume that's how it was. It was Michael versus Jason. Evil emerges.
Right. Yeah, so it's a pretty basic story. I mean, or if you want to even say there's a story, it's more of an action thing. I think it's kind of like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, and all of these characters that we've in the horror franchise really have kind of turned into these sort of comic book like characters, where you can do something like this. You could take a Michael Myers or a Jason or a Freddy or whatever and do like a little 30-minute skit and just kind of full balls to the wall action thing. And it kind of works in a way, in the sense, like, I could totally picture like going to a comic store and, picking up a Michael versus Jason comic and seeing, oh yeah, this this quick little short story of, the two of them meeting in the woods and going at it. And that's kind of how I see this,
Right. Yeah. And it's funny that it's Michael versus Jason in this, but you could have swapped out either of them with not only any of the other horror villains. You could have Freddy and Chucky, or Pinhead and Pumpkinhead, or whoever, but you could have, like, I don't know, Rocky and Conan together, or I could see it being, even, I mean, just anybody really. I mean, you could have like Iron Man and Darth Vader, or just like, in the way that they did this story. Like, I don't know how you felt about this, because this is another thing that we should explain with the reviews. We do like almost zero research, because I didn't look into the history of this film at all. I just found it on YouTube. I was like, let's talk about this one. That's the research we did on this. We don't talk about the movies at all between the time that we say this is what we're going to talk about and when we're reviewing it. So we have zero idea what the other one feels. And even though we've known each other for like 40 years now, there are times where we are certain that he's going to love this one, and then 15 minutes into it you look over and he's like, no, this is nope. And 2 hours later the look isn't it any better, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry dude, I put you through that, man. I thought you were going to love it.
Right. No, I hear you. Yeah.
The way that they did this story, though, just like no explanation at all. Just like, here's Jason, here's Michael, and yep, there you are. And I'm a killer and you're a killer, and we're just going to go at it. And it and that was, like you said, I think it was like 29 minutes of that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the gist of it is, it starts out, Jason wakes up from the grave, gets up, he hears his mother's voice talking to him, and he goes on the hunt. And then we cut over to this like SWAT team, and they've got Michael hostage, or not hostage, but in captivity, or whatever you want to call it. In what's that word? When cops have you they're in custody.
Custody.
So they have him in custody in this little shed or something. And of course he escapes and breaks out from them, and then he gets off into the woods, and then him and Jason meet. One thing I did want to bring up, because I always bring this up in a lot of things when we talk about these horror icons, is the look of the monsters and what they looked like. And the Jason in this one, to me, at first I thought it was kind of a Jason Lives kind of version, at least especially with the mask off. It kind of the maskless Jason, which we do see actually, which is kind of interesting. That's how it starts off. Had that Jason Lives vibe to it. But the more I watched it, the more I thought it was more Jason versus Freddy, or Freddy versus Jason, in terms of the look. It had the long coat. Would you agree with that? Do you think it had that kind
Oh
of?
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So you're going kind of like in the beginning with like the face and stuff was giving him more of the Jason Lives vibe, but then
Yeah.
like okay, yeah, I see that. And then the overall outfit, yeah, I would see that. I can go with because the outfit, it wasn't really a film accurate Jason, as far as, like you couldn't say like, oh, that was, Jason from parts, 4 or part
Yeah.
5 or whatever, but yeah, I would see, I could see what you're saying. I agree with that. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, it had, it's like they had their own little thing they came up with, the look of them. They kind of mix and matched a few different Jasons and came up with this look.
Yeah. And I wonder if they do that um for just to be safe for like trademark stuff. I wonder, because
Could be.
I well I don't know about the Jason masks at all, if those are officially licensed by anybody right now. I would assume they are, but and I know that the Halloween masks are, of course, but I know like in the what is it, the Never Hike Alone movies, um the Jason character in there is referred to as Ghost Jason,
Hmm.
and it's a little different, and the mask is different and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Um, and
look.
it's Yeah, and so I kind of wonder if that's what they are doing in like this one too, because um, the Jason mask isn't, it's like it's a cool mask, but it's not a like an official mask from any of the movies.
It was its own thing. I mean, it definitely looked inspired by. It had the same kind of the whole placement and the chevrons and whatnot. I mean, but it had it like the added wear and tear and all that stuff.
Yeah. It
And it had,
reminded me of those ones. You ever see those ones at like the conventions and stuff,
yeah, yeah,
of where there's like they're painted like black or gold, or sometimes they're painted black and gold or something, or
yeah.
different colors. That's what it kind of reminded me of, is like somebody saw like a cool one like at a convention or something and was like, oh, let's use that one in the movie.
That's how I see it too.
Yep.
And interesting enough too with the Michael. So the Michael that I see them trying to capture, the closest was the 2018 Halloween Michael Myers version, even going as far as, we see him with the mask off and they show sort of the distorted eye. So it had that kind of James Jude Courtney kind of vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now with the mask though, with that one, I could be wrong, but I don't think that was a Halloween 18 mask. Like I was looking at mine and it's very similar to it.
Well, I wonder if, so you remember in like, I think it was like, because there was 3 or 4 fight sequences, right, of them fighting each other.
Yeah.
And I think it was like in the second one, or maybe it was the third one, Jason hit him, or maybe it was even the first one. Jason hit him in the face with the machete
Yeah.
and like removed the piece of the mask.
Right.
What? So wasn't there two versions of the 2018 mask? There was the one, the regular one, like the one that you and I have, and then the other one after like Laurie hits him in the face.
Yeah.
Wasn't there? And so I wonder if it wasn't that mask the entire time, and they just had that like extra, like an extra piece of latex over it.
It could
And
have
then
been
when he,
something about the face sculpt didn't look exactly like from what I recalled. As I'll have to watch it again, but it just
yeah,
seemed like it was. There's a an independent mask guy. Well, it's what's his name, Justin Mabry, and he's the guy that actually now works for Trick or Treat Studios. But before that, he had his own line of masks, and one of them was called the Thrasher, and it's kind of like his take of Michael Myers, where it's not like screen accurate, and that looked like what I remembered that to look like what they used in this film.
oh okay.
Could be wrong, could be totally
Well,
wrong.
if either of us would know, it would be you.
Yeah, I got kind of like an obsessive mind when it comes to these masks, but so I'm not sure. But anyhow, yeah, the definite the vibe I got from it was the Halloween 2018 vibe. They really try. Probably because it's the most modern, the newer, and I think like the worn look of the mask is kind of what most people are familiar with now in the currently. So but yeah, so the movie again, it turns into a basically Michael Myers John Wick film, right? I mean, it's just a mano or whatever,
Yeah,
battle to the death. Who's gonna win? So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the one thing about Michael Myers though, and maybe this is a little different with Jason, but to me, he doesn't work well in daylight. Like he's not the kind of character you want to see in the middle of the day doing his thing. He's more of like a hiding in the shadows, creeping in a closet kind of thing. So that was probably if I'm gonna give it some criticism or be critical of this film, I would say if I was to do a movie with Michael Myers, I would definitely film it at nighttime.
I would agree with that. I, yeah, because in Freddy versus Jason, I mean, there wasn't really any. Was there? I guess there was some daylight scenes in that one too, but there wasn't a lot though. It was mostly dark and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dark, but Jason kind of gets away with it a little more just because he's more comic-y, where Michael's more that phantom character where
right.
you want to see him hiding away
Mhm.
he really only comes out at night. I mean, I think like the original Halloween, I mean, the times you do see him in the daytime, it's for like a split second and he's creeping up behind a bush or something, and you don't get a
Mhm.
glimpse at him. Here, it's like full view. And I mean but again, that's kind of the point of what they're doing here. It's more of like an action horror. So I get it. So I'm not gonna slag on them for that because I know the kind of
Right.
the vibe and the tone they're going for.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. Is my only gripe about this is was the amount of action that is in it is a lot of that was like hand to hand combat. A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of because in my notes I had written down, I was like, oh, well, that's kind of funny that they're turning Michael Myers into um, Mikey Balboa in this movie. And then, it
Yeah.
turns a couple seconds later, Jason's just doing the same thing. They're just
Right.
boxing back and forth. But I
Yeah.
get it, it's a fan movie. And, these guys probably didn't really have enough budget to have the sort of special effects to where you could just have these two, I mean, and we did get to see it, of course. You got to see Michael doing his stabby stuff quite a bit on Jason at different times, and we did get to see Jason hacking off pieces of Michael. But you know, in reality, that's what you want to see is these
Yeah.
two guys like using different weapons on each other the entire time, really, because neither one of them are really known for punching anything. So
Yeah.
so that was my only like not, and it's not even really a gripe because I get it's a fan movie, and if me and you were to make a fan movie of any sort, we would do the cheapest way we could do it as well, you know. So that's my only gripe with it was that. My one question I did have for you, and you didn't bring it up, so I evidently didn't really bug you too much, but in the opening of this, they open with, like you has mentioned, Jason like just popping out of the ground, and he's maskless, basically. Very similar to the opening of He Lives, which technically I guess is correct. Jason Lives. And then when we first see Michael, it's the same sort of thing. He's without his mask. And I know how you feel about villains being maskless in these movies when they're supposed to be masked. But did that bug you in this, being that it was only just for real quick at just the beginning?
It bugged me a little bit with the Michael Myers one because that character to me does best where you don't have a clue what he looks like. I know in the original film you get that quick glimpse of him, and that's fine. And I kind of, but that's it, and that's all. And that's at the very end of the film. I didn't like 2018 or Kills the way that they showed so much of him and so much of like you could, even though you didn't see it full on, you could put the pieces together in your head of what he looks like. So that kind of bugged me. The Jason stuff doesn't necessarily bug me though, because like to me, the Jason reveal is one of the most exciting things about every Jason movie. Like, I think of like Friday 4 when Tommy, hits the mask off his face and, you see him for the first time. It's like a really cool reveal. You get to see what Jason looked like, I mean, back in the Paramount days, when we were kids, it was like, you knew at the end you were going to get to see what he looked like under the hockey mask, and you couldn't wait for that. You're like, oh, I can't wait to see what he looks like now. So with Jason, I didn't mind it as much. And I mean, they started off that way. Maybe in my book, it would have been better if they didn't show it at the beginning, but maybe at the end, like Michael's smacks his hockey mask off him or something. That would have been kind of cool. But overall, I do think that the Michael without his mask scene did kind of ruin it a little bit, because then he looked just too much like an ordinary guy, just like 2018.
Yeah, I wonder if, I mean, even though there is a Michael being unmasked, as you already mentioned in the original, and that's the only time we really see him until Rob Zombie comes around again. But I wonder though if we would have seen him more when we were kids, similar to how we saw Jason all the time when we were kids. And well, you see Freddy all the time too. But I wonder if we would have seen Michael more in the sequels, if it wouldn't bug you as much as it does with Michael, if it would have been more normalized in your book.
See, that's the thing though. I don't think I would have been happy with it, because like really, the original to me, the way they did it with that one, that's sort of, well, I guess, yeah, they, like you said, they did show it then. But I think it's always best to keep the mask on him, because even like in Halloween 2, like when they do the retread of that scene where the mask is removed, they cut it so that you don't actually see him removed. So the whole time you're watching Halloween 2, you never have that image in your head of what his face looks like. So yeah, I don't think that. I think the Michael Myers character needs to stay masked. I think the mask does the job of, and you just can. He's kind of like Darth Vader in a sense where, up until the end of Return of the Jedi, you really had to imagine what he looked like, and I think that's kind of works best for that character.
Could you? Oh man. Yeah, could you imagine if they would have unmasked Michael in all of the Halloween movies, and it was like a different character every time, and there's like no disfiguration or anything besides the eyeball, and he just looks completely different because it's a different guy every time.
They did in 5, remember? They actually, I mean, you only see like a teardrop or something, and you don't get to really see his face, but he masks, and he's got really long hair, and then you see like a kind of the shadow of his face. Like it's when Jamie has him take the mask off. I remember that was like a huge deal when that scene, like everybody saw that back in like 7th grade or whatever. It was like, oh my gosh, he took the mask off and he cried, and it was like, whoa, no, I can't believe it. And so it did happen then, but then again, yeah, like you said with what's his name, Rob Zombie, then that sort of took a lot of the mystique out of the character, especially Halloween 2, where he's got half a mask on and most of a beard showing. So that
Well, it's just funny because I mean, when we were kids, back when, Halloween was coming out and stuff, even, well, because that would have been in, like, you know, when did Halloween 4 come out? When did that, was 88, I guess, right? 88, 89 was when 5 came out, I guess. So like in that like late 80s era when, Freddy was starting to take over as king of the world and stuff. uh I Kane Hodder was moving into the Jason role and stuff, but up until that point, nobody was really defined as these characters, whereas now, if Halloween, I mean, I know they remade Halloween and stuff, but like Halloween was brand new, it wouldn't have been the same now as it was back then. There would be like one guy would be the shape
right.
throughout the entire, franchise, or at least throughout most of it, more than a few. It's not
Oh yeah.
back then where it was like, I don't know, hey, you over there, put this mask on. Oh, perfect. There you go. You're the killer.
Yeah, it's funny. It's really interesting this where we're at now with a lot of these movies. It seems like because I remember when I was a kid, I always thought like, why are they getting this guy that doesn't really have the body shape of Michael Myers, or especially like in Halloween 6 when George Wilbur came back, and he just had this big beer gut, and it's just like this doesn't look like Michael Myers, and I just remember thinking that, but now it's like finally there's some level of fandom that's taken over into the movies where they're starting to like, worry about these things like, oh, we better, like Halloween 2018. I don't really like the movie, but I sure as hell love The Mask. And it's like they finally are starting to get to that point where like we got to do some things right here. Because I remember forever, like every time there was a new Halloween movie, I'm like, oh, there's a new Halloween movie. That's really exciting, but The Mask is going to look terrible. So let's see let's maybe this time they'll actually get it right. And then you'll finally you grab your Fangoria magazine and like, oh, it's closer, I guess. And then like, you just keep waiting for them to
I
find.
never understood that ever.
Really?
Never made, you know what I mean? No, I mean, not with you. I mean, I never understood why. It never made sense to me with any of the movies, like the Halloween movies, Nightmare on Elm Street movies, Jason, any of them. Like, I mean, I get you have different, you know, makeup people coming in and different special effects people coming in, but they've had to, I mean, we had cameras back in the 70s and 80s. Somebody had to have been able to take a picture and
Yeah.
look and see, like, I mean, they had you, the movie still exists, so they had to have been around, so for people to watch and be
Exactly.
like, oh, that's what it looks like,
It,
not really. I mean, because almost like every movie, it's like they're going off of like a script description of the mask rather than what the mask actually looked like. I mean,
yeah.
especially when part 5, oh,
Oh,
man.
yeah. And then I remember as a kid just never understanding why they couldn't get it right. And I'm like thinking like with Halloween Kills, that flashback scene, had that mask and that Michael and that look been in Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, H2O, Halloween Resurrection, I'd probably like all those movies like 10 times better. I'd probably at least be able to watch them. But like I just can't watch them because the mask doesn't look right to me. That's why I always stick with 1 and 2, is because it's that Shatner mask. And and then the Blumhouse stuff, it's like, oh, at least when I'm watching it, it looks like Michael Myers. So it's like, the movie might not be very good, but the character looks right to me. And I think that's why I have this weird sort of thing in my head, like when we go and see these movies, we leave the theater and like, oh, that was pretty good. And then you stop and you think, well, the story kind of sucked, and it wasn't really that great of a film, but he looked cool. So I give so much like emphasis on that mask and what it looks like. And I think that's why I keep giving these a try. Like even Halloween Ends, I don't think it's going to be any good, but that mask I'm sure is going to be pretty cool. So it
I
is.
don't know. Do you think we're gonna see Halloween Ends this year?
Yeah, they just finished filming it. Did you see
Well,
they
see, I don't even, are they actually done? I don't know if they're done filming, or or is just Chris Nelson done? Because I know he posted that he was done
I heard
with,
that I heard the film wrapped. Yeah, it
oh,
was.
okay.
I read it somewhere that they actually wrapped filming. So I guess they're probably in post production now, putting it together. But yeah, I think we'll
Yeah,
have.
it just seems like because it's the middle of March. It just seems like, man, what's that? That's 7 months. That seems like
Yeah,
doesn't seem like enough time.
it doesn't. But I think this is going to be a. Yeah, from what I'm guessing, it's going to probably be a little bit more simple than even the last one, the kills. I think that one would have probably a little bit more to it. I think this one's going to be pretty
Mm.
a little bit more basic in terms of where it's filmed and the characters and all that. I could be totally wrong, so don't quote me on that. But all right, well, we should probably go ahead and wrap this and give it our thumbs up or thumbs down, just like we did back in the old days in horror heads. So, do you want to go
Yeah.
give your review first?
Yeah. I mean, I am a big fan of fan edits and these fan films. I think these things are great. I don't know who this Luke Petter dude is, but I mean, this movie to me was great. And like I said before, the story, like you had said, there really is no story. It's Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are in the woods for some reason, and they have a couple of weapons, and they're fighting to the death. Um, and it's only a half an hour long. So I mean, if you're looking for a half an hour, something to kill, dude. I mean, this is great. Something to sit back, kick back with a nice cold beverage or something. Something to real quick on a Friday after work or something like. I just need something just to disconnect from work real quick. This is great. I'll give it a thumbs up for sure.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it's not the original Halloween, so doesn't even hold a candle to the John Carpenter class. No, I'm just kidding. So I didn't want to go there. So no, I am going to agree with you. It's a fan film. It's just 30 minutes of mindless fun. You know, the idea that somebody went out in the woods and did this is really cool. And again, like you and I said, it'd be cool if you and I were able to do something like this someday. That'd be really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I hope to see more movies like that.
Cool.
All right, everybody. If I figure out how to do this, I will put a link to the to this movie below. And if it's not there, that means I didn't figure out how to do it. So, but we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Now you're gonna do the typical like smash the like button and hit the subscribe or whatever, or however you say it.
Do that. Yes. Subscribe and hit that like button. We need it.
Cool.